Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where a police officer on a power trip unlawfully detained a kid in handcuffs just because he displayed the middle finger to the officer. In body cam footage released on May 29, 2022, a young man was walking along the side of the road when he flipped an officer off as a patrol vehicle drove by. Instead of continuing his way down the road, the officer intentionally circled back to the young man and parked behind him before stepping out and confronting him about the finger.
Well, I'm going to be on a male subject. Radio by Rivercrest. Why are you giving me the finger?
What?
What's your problem?
What?
Why are you giving me the finger?
I'm walking away.
Huh?
Am I free to go?
Why are you giving me the finger?
Am I free to go?
No.
For
Come here.
what reason?
Why are you giving me the finger?
I'm free to go. Am I free to go?
What's your problem?
Am I free to go?
No.
What, do you have a problem?
No.
Do you have a problem?
No.
You don't have a problem, then I can leave.
Why are you giving me the finger when you're walking? Huh? Come here.
I'm free to go.
No, you're not.
What?
Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
Why?
Because.
Is that a lawful order?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Because you're giving me the finger.
That's legal.
No, it isn't.
Says who?
Says it all.
Pull up the law.
Huh?
Pull up the law.
What's your name?
What's the law?
What's your
What's
name?
The law?
What's your name? How
What's the
old
law?
are you?
I appreciate it. Have a good one. Jake.
Whatever. What?
You heard me. What,
Come here.
I'm afraid of you?
Come here. Get over here.
The officer here is Corporal Michael Pritch with the Little Egg Harbor Police Department of Ocean County, New Jersey. As we've just seen, Corporal Pritch was rather unhappy about the fact that this young man had flipped him off. So much so that he even made up his own law, claiming that flipping an officer off is illegal. However, this was indeed far from the truth. Similar instances have occurred throughout history, and in the 2006 case of Corey v. Nassan, the district court specifically held that the weight of federal authority establishes that directing the middle finger at a police officer is protected expression under the First Amendment, absent some particularized showing that the gesture in the specific factual context constitutes fighting words or is otherwise illegal. And to quickly recall, the First Amendment provides that Congress make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting its free exercise. It protects freedom of speech, the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Judging by this, it becomes rather clear that the young man had every right to exercise the First Amendment and gesture at Corporal Pritch however he wanted to. But that didn't mean Corporal Pritch was going to de-escalate the situation and let the man out of the unlawful detainment. Watch as he sprints toward the man and physically restrains him, essentially detaining him for no valid reason.
Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
I'm not doing anything illegal.
Yeah, you are. You just cursed me off.
That's not a crime.
Yes, it is.
Says who?
Says me.
Says who?
Turn around. Come on.
Bro, that is not a crime.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Why are you cursing me?
It's not a crime.
What's your name?
It's not a crime.
What's your name?
Help! Help!
No help.
Help! Help!
Yo.
Help!
At this point, Corporal Pritch had mysteriously shut his body cam off while the young man yelled for help. These actions not only raise suspicion, but also create a serious breach of protocol and accountability. It's imperative for law enforcement officers to keep their body cams on during all interactions with the public, especially during critical incidents such as this one. According to the New Jersey Body-Worn Camera Act, it's explicitly stated that an officer equipped with a body-worn camera shall be required to activate the device whenever the officer is responding to a call for service or at the initiation of any other law enforcement or investigative encounter between an officer and a member of the public. And it's also mentioned that the officer must activate the camera at the first reasonable opportunity to do so, and it shall remain activated until the encounter has fully concluded and the officer leaves the scene. This undoubtedly concludes that Corporal Pritch had violated law enforcement policy and subsequently engaged in misconduct. Note that up until backup arrived, Corporal Pritch's body cam remained switched off. This was for a good few minutes, which is rather worrying because anything could have been said or done, and we would never know about it for certain.
1060.
Firm.
Okay.
You're being detained because you're acting strange.
What? That's not legal.
It is legal. He's allowed to
Who is
detain
this
you
kid?
until he performs his
So what am I
investigation.
doing though? What am I doing that made him detain me? What legal right?
Every time I rode by him twice, he shot me the finger. So I turned around and said, "Well, you're
Is that a crime?
problem?"
Hold
Then
on
he
a
tells
second.
me
That's not a
This is
crime.
causing public disturbance.
Then he
That's
tells
not,
me to
no, that's not a
to
crime.
F off, big.
Yeah, off, big. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. He's looking at you because he's like, what the f do you want me to do? Because it's not a crime. I know my rights.
Who are you?
I don't have to say any of that.
You do if you're being detained.
What's that?
You do if you're being detained.
For what reason?
What
What
did you
legal
do?
reason am I being detained for?
Where are you coming from and where are you?
What legal reason am I being detained for? I need to know that. Legally, I need to know that.
Why are you
Shooting me the finger.
Why are you
Is that illegal?
Why are you bird? Yes, it is. It's causing a public disturbance and a public alarm if you are cursing
So
in
a
public.
single one.
So when you are cursing in public, you are causing a public disturbance. You're being a nuisance to the public.
In what way? When he was driving past? That's singular. Well, I'd like to see you guys prove it in court.
It's called causing a public disturbance.
I know the
by
law.
being a nuisance.
Here we've seen Officer Michael James arrive as backup, and that's when Corporal Pritch finally switched his body cam back on. Anyway, the first thing Officer James said to the man was that Corporal Pritch was legally allowed to detain him. This is debatable because the police can detain you if they have a warrant for your arrest or have reason to suspect that you have broken the law or committed an offense. And since we've already concluded that the man had not committed a crime whatsoever, we can also say that this detainment was unlawful as a result. Secondly, Officer James claimed that since the man flipped Corporal Pritch off, it would be regarded as causing a public disturbance. This directly relates to disorderly conduct, and once we refer to the exact statute, it once again becomes clear that the man was not committing a crime by showing the finger. Under Section 2C33-2 of the New Jersey Code, it stated that a person is guilty of a petty disorderly person's offense if, in a public place, and with purpose to offend the sensibilities of a hearer, or in reckless disregard of the probability of so doing, he addresses unreasonably loud and offensively coarse or abusive language, given the circumstances of the person present and the setting of the utterance, to any person present. Next, as if this encounter wasn't ridiculous enough, both officers on the scene decide to flip the script and literally pretended as if they were concerned for the man's safety and well-being, hence the detainment. Clearly, the man saw right through their tactics and couldn't help but laugh at them.
I know the law.
All right. So at that point, what he is doing is he's not saying you're being charged with anything. At that
I'm
point,
just
he is
figuring out
detaining
what's wrong with
you
you.
to make
What's
sure that
going
there
on?
is nothing
Make
wrong.
sure you're okay.
Make sure that you're okay.
What reason does he need to detain me?
He thought maybe he thought you were signaling him down. I'm not sure.
That I was doing what?
Were you
I was.
signaling to him?
No,
Listen, I was
no,
just-
you knew very well that I wasn't signaling to you, right? I wasn't signaling
Well,
to you.
you bring attention to yourself.
That's not signaling.
You're acting strange. I'm making sure you're okay.
Dude, that's so funny. Like, you're not here for my safety. You're not trying to protect
How
me.
do you know?
You're walking
may
on the
be-
side of the road and you're cursing and you're flipping the bird.
Once at him. I gave him the finger once. That
you know
will
him?
not hold up.
Do you know him?
That will not hold
Why
up
are
in
you
a
giving
court
him
of
the
law.
finger?
That will not hold up in a court of
Why are
law.
you giving
I
him
know
the
my
finger?
rights.
Do you know him?
It's not your business.
Do you know him?
It's not your business. I
It is
plead the
my
fifth.
business.
I plead the fifth then.
Okay.
You guys make nothing out of
So,
something.
by you cursing and using vulgar gestures,
So what's the First Amendment for?
It's causing a public disturbance.
What's
and a
the
public
First
alarm.
Amendment for?
Okay. The First Amendment is for your freedom of speech. Okay.
Okay.
What does that have to do with
Was I
using
making a call
gestures?
to action? Was I making a call to action? Was I? Was I like
When you were
threatening
acting-
you in any way?
what are you
Did I
talking
threaten you?
about?
Do you understand
You know what
that
a call to action is?
Do you understand that you're acting?
Is that a call to action? Am I
you-
calling for an action to be done against you?
Do
No.
you understand
You're
that it
bringing
is?
attention to
Listen,
yourself and
listen,
getting
listen, listen.
That's not legal.
It's behavior that's out of the ordinary.
I understand how it works.
So
but
therefore,
legally
he stopped
it would not
to talk
hold.
to you. Clearly, if he stopped all the way back there, I'm assuming you guys were back there and you just
We
continued
went
to
back
walk.
a bit further
you
back.
just
And you
continued
ran
to
away
walk.
from me.
I wasn't running. I told you that I was free to go, and you all
I
of a
said
sudden.
stop, and you ran down here. That's
I
why
wasn't
ran up.
running. I was walking.
Once he
So
gives an order
let's
for you
be
to
honest
stop, you're supposed to stop.
I did stop when he originally said it, but I was asking, is it illegal? Is it a lawful order?
And he took off.
Yeah, because I kept walking because you weren't pursuing at the first. You only started pursuing because I said "F you, pig." That's when you got a little upset.
Okay, so
you got his panties in the pants.
listen, we're here at this point now. Okay, you've brought the attention to yourself. You caused the public alarm.
Yep.
So now,
well, I'd like to see you legally hold that in court because
I'm not charging you with anything, so I don't legally need to hold anything in court.
Well,
okay, what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out why you're walking on the side of the road, okay, and why you're continuing to signal to a police officer.
I wasn't signaling.
Okay.
See, now you changed the story. Now you're changing the story. Was I signaling or which one was it?
So what were you doing?
Well, I want to know from your perspective.
I pulled up onto the scene, so you tell me what you were doing.
Bring you attention.
I plead the fifth. You fucking idiot. You're an idiot, dude.
Okay.
How long have you been a cop? 6?
Longer than you.
Listen.
Longer than you? I'm not a cop, retard.
Listen.
How long have you been alive?
You're fucking retarded, bro.
Listen.
Yep.
What? Like, what? I don't understand what the point of this is.
A similar incident from all the way back in 1984 can also give us context as to whether what the man had done was illegal or not. In that year, a man named Gregory Lee Johnson burned an American flag as a means of protest against Reagan administration policies. Johnson was first tried and convicted under a Texas law outlawing flag desecration. He was then sentenced to 1 year in jail and assessed a $2,000 fine. After the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals reversed the conviction, the case went to the Supreme Court. In a 5-4 decision, the court held that Johnson's burning of a flag was protected expression under the First Amendment. The court also found that Johnson's actions fell into the category of expressive conduct and had a distinctively political nature. The fact that an audience takes offense to certain ideas or expression, the court found, does not justify prohibitions of speech. Also, it was stated that there is a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment. It is that the government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea itself offensive or disagreeable. With context to the 1984 case, if Corporal Pritch was even remotely offended by the man's gesture, it certainly did not give him the right to try and prohibit the expression, let alone deem it illegal. Now, observe as both officers inadvertently reveal themselves as uneducated law enforcement officers who lack comprehension of the Fourth Amendment, which protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government.
I'm walking. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's the Fourth Amendment to be allowed to walk without seizures or anything like that.
You
Which
sure?
is, yes.
Are you sure that's the Fourth Amendment?
That's the Fourth Amendment.
You sure that's what the Fourth Amendment is? You
You
sure?
want to bet money on it?
You sure that's what the Fourth Amendment? It gives you the right to walk without seizure. What's going to be seizured while you're walking?
My body, my person, idiot.
I'm seizing you? Did anybody
Yes,
Did I
yes,
check all your pockets
you were
or
about
anything?
to.
Come on.
You were about to.
Listen.
He said I was going to be under arrest.
He said you were
I
detained.
said stop.
He
No,
said you were
where are you
detained.
gonna be arrested?
So now what
Yeah,
happens?
so
now what happens?
he just admitted that
now
he was
what
going
happens
to arrest
is when
me.
he gives you a lawful order to stop, and you do
It
not
wasn't a
stop.
lawful order, though.
And you do not stop.
It legally was not a lawful
and
order.
you do not stop, then that becomes a criminal offense, and then yes, you can be put under
But
arrest.
it's not a lawful order. Then I take it to court, and then he'd get sued, and I get
Maybe.
punitive damages. I'd be rich as. Is that what you want?
That
You don't know the law.
may be what happens
You don't know
if you
the
think
law.
that that's what's going to happen. That may be what's going to happen. It may not be what happens. Okay.
Okay, I
What may
understand.
happen is
All right, so
is
what
you
are we
may get a
wasting time
normal
for?
jury.
Am I free
and
to go?
What
Am I
may
free to
happen
go?
is you may
Am
get
I
a
free to
normal
go?
jury. No, because at this point
For what reason?
you were detained. Okay, because he told you to stop
Okay.
and you didn't stop.
Okay.
So therefore, you need to identify yourself as a part of the investigation. So what is your name?
Okay, I'm gonna need all of your badge numbers.
I will give you everything written down on a card.
What's
I'll give it all
your
to you.
rank?
I'll give it all to you on
What's
a
your
card.
rank?
Patrolman. I'm
What's
a
your rank?
patrolman. That's my rank. Patrolman.
Oh, patrolman.
Okay.
And you?
Corporal.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, what is your
I
name?
could give you.
If you have an idea, that's perfect.
Am I? Okay. I'll take it to court
If you have
because
an
this
idea,
is
that's
still
perfect.
this is still a detainment.
Are you a juvenile?
This is an illegal detainment,
Are
so
you
I
a
can still.
juvenile?
I'm not going to answer that.
You have to answer.
Why?
Because you're being detained.
Even though Officer James was surprisingly accurate here when referring to the law with regard to an individual being obligated to provide ID when detained, he still failed to realize that the detainment in and of itself was unjustified, meaning that the man was technically not obligated to provide any information. To understand the stop and identify in New Jersey, it's highlighted that the state requires you to stop and identify yourself under limited circumstances. This means that if an officer is conducting an investigation, you may be required to state your legal name. The officer must have reasonable suspicion that you are involved in illegal activity to require you to stop and identify yourself. Regardless, the man still complied with Officer James and provided him with his ID. Eventually, after acknowledging that the man was not a juvenile and that his record was clean, he was finally placed out of the illegal detainment.
I said I'll give you my ID, buddy.
Are you a juvenile?
You saw me.
No. Okay, so
Better.
because it has to be handled a little bit differently. That's all. If you're a juvenile, I have to call your parents and I have to advise them that I'm out with you and that I'm speaking
Go ahead,
with you.
Piggy.
That's all it is. Okay?
He's such a pig, bro.
So what does that make you?
Not a pig.
What does
Dude,
that
this
make
is
you for
illegal.
saying?
This is illegal, buddy.
What is the point?
This is illegal.
There's nothing illegal about it.
Yes, it is.
It is
You want to
not.
bet money on it?
We're gonna find
We'll-
out.
we'll see in court, bud.
Listen, we're gonna find out. Okay.
We'll
When
see.
you cause a public disturbance and a public alarm and you become a nuisance to the public, okay,
You'll legally have to prove that I was a nuisance
When
to
you're
the public.
standing-
How will you do that? How will you do that? I just want to hear
camera
your-
systems. Okay, so when he goes by in the car, okay, and he sees you doing what you're doing,
And what was
that's
I
all gonna
doing?
be there.
And what part of that caused a disturbance? That's what I'm trying to legally understand. I don't understand. Is that a body camera?
That's what it is.
Perfect, perfect. Tuckerton doesn't have them, you know that? Tuckerton's been on back order for months. Because I have a lawsuit against them, that's why. And I wish they'd have body cams. I would love if they had body cams. And it takes out the bad cop. That's what it's for. It's not for the good cop. It's for the bad cop. Well, to protect the good cops as well.
It's for all of us.
To take out the bad cops.
It's for all of us.
Right.
It's for all of us. It's for everybody that's involved in the situation. Okay?
Appreciate it.
There you go. Okay. Now, listen, if you have any problems or anything, and you want to come down, you want to talk to somebody, our supervisors are always there as well. Okay?
Well, I'm going to
And
take
you
a
can do
lawsuit.
that.
So who would I press criminal charges against? For what?
You're gonna have to
police
call.
officers.
You're gonna have to call and figure that out with a lawyer.
I don't need to answer that. I'm asking you, where would I go to press charges against a police officer?
You would have to come down and file a complaint with
It's
the courts.
at this police station?
You would have to file a complaint with the courts.
Got it.
Okay, and then you can go from there if you want to see if you can press charges and whatnot if you
Perfect.
violated your rights.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, am I free to go?
Give us fingers.
Shut the f*** up.
Stay out of the roadway. Stop causing a public alarm.
Dude, shut the f*** up. Am I free
Stop
to go?
cursing.
Am I
You're free to go.
Stop cursing. Go fuck.
You're free to go.
Though there have been no further updates made public regarding this encounter, it certainly sheds light on the importance of remaining educated on the constitutional rights that have been handed to all members of the public. Had the young man not been made aware of his rights, events could have unfolded much differently, especially considering the tyrannical actions displayed by Corporal Pritch. Be sure to check out our previous video, where we cover another outrageous police encounter.